Happy Friday, and it's all about rave today, all about old school rave, how it affected my life and how it still does, and my experience of the old school days. And we'll all have our own stories. Mine started around 16 when a friend of mine who was going out with a DJ at the time used to ask me to come round the house, so I did. And I used to listen to him playing and think it was amazing. And he got us into our first sort of club, which was, I was from Newmarket, it was a dance hall. Some of you have may heard of it. We had people coming from London, Norwich, all over. It was a massive club. And it sort of started from there, basically. And my first experience of drugs, really, which was back then was speed. And I'd always loved dancing from a kid, always one of these that had a glass mirror thing in front of me, which I would dance and dance to my mum and dad's records. I went to a dance school. So the whole thing combined was just me, really. I loved to dance. The speed made me lose all my inhibitions and dance my socks off, and I loved every minute of it. Dance hall progressed into meeting other people and slowly went into the illegal drug scene. Not drug scene. Well, yeah, it's illegal, isn't it? But rave scene. So we were in barns all over East Anglia. We'd meet up at old meeting point, like a trucker stop type things. Convoys and convoys of cars, thousands of cars would be meeting up at these areas, and one or two cars would come and collect the convoy, and then it'd be a big drive to wherever the do was being held. 9 times out of 10, it was a barn. Some of these barns were filthy, but we didn't give a shit. No one had mobile phones then. No one cared about really what you looked like. It wasn't about what you looked like, it was the music. So it was trainers because you knew they were going to get mucky. It was halter neck tops. It was, you know, minimal makeup. Your hair would go up because you knew it was just going to be a sweaty mess. There was no one standing in the corner in 8-inch heels. No toilets to reapply lipstick. It just wasn't. It just wasn't done. And everyone was on one, and it was just the best feelings in the world. You know, I can't. To try and explain it to someone that wasn't there would be impossible, really, apart from trying to do it this way. But you're never going to pick up from me just how amazing they were. We had some mad experiences, going from, like I say, it just seemed to be one mad blur of a life from 16. At about 17, we'd rented a house somehow with an older friend. I feel terrible to the owners to this day because the cottage was lovely when we rented it. But we had experiences where we'd have a night at the dance hall, and at the end, one night, the end, the DJ announced that there was a after party going on, and I was like, wow, yeah, come on, I've got to go and find the girls, there's a party going on. And I sort of listened to him, and then I went up to my friend. I said, there's an after party. I said, he's saying our address. And she said, yeah, I know. She said, Becky's invited everyone there. I'm thinking, oh my God, we live in a small little cottage and they've just asked a whole nightclub to an after party. And by the time we'd walked round, there was the biggest convoy of cars I'd ever seen coming down our street at 2 a.m. in the morning in a residential area and piling into this small cottage of ours, absolutely piling in. There were people in the bath, but, you know, sitting on the toilet seat, sitting on the rim of the toilet seat, packed out in the kitchen, going out into the yard, all over the front room, up the stairs, in all the bedrooms, just sitting around. And you know what? That party went on for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks of people coming and going and coming and going. And we didn't know any of them. We knew a few, but we didn't know these people coming in and out of the house. It was a massive, massive... I don't think any of us hardly got any sleep for those 2 weeks. I'm surprised the police didn't come sooner than they did. It was the most amazing, mental party that, you know, I'll never forget it. I mean, people signed their names all over the walls and wrote a verse off their heads. And we listened to music, we danced, we made hundreds of new friends by the end of it all. One of our friends disappeared back to Norwich and wasn't seen for 2 weeks, but it was normal. It was mental. It was just mental until we got raided by the police, which then banged the door down and everyone seemed to scarper like rats. But it's memories like that and memories of the buzz and finding the money. God knows how we found the money to go out, but we did. I lost in my first year of raving 8 stone, which then I attended a school reunion and I can remember the headmaster asking me to stand on a chair. And he said, hasn't Claire done well to lose some weight? Claire, tell us how you've done it. And I can remember, probably still buzzing then, that I had to say I'd been on this amazing weight loss diet without giving too much away. But from there, my confidence rose and I started dancing for clubs. I danced at a few raves for Eclipse, and they were at Coventry. Crikey, we went all over the place. Tudor Oats, the Langtree at Tudor Oats, I think that was another great venue. And then we moved into London, and places like Bagley's. And again, Bagley's was just, as we all know, one of those mental places where we had some of the best nights ever. The mad things we did, you know, you'd always stop back then. I can remember a car, you'd shove into a car. I've never seen so many people in a Fiesta. And then you'd all pull up at a petrol station after. And my thing at the time was that strawberry milkshake drink you used to get. So anything from the shop, anyone wanted anything from the shop, and it was always 10 fags and maybe a bottle of this strawberry milk that I used to love. And the party never stopped. You know, it didn't just stop at the end of these raving days. It wasn't about, you know, no one got that sort of, it was about making friends and making, and the drugs back, even the drugs back then, it wasn't about greed or anything like that. It was about getting on the same vibe as the person next to you, and people would give you drugs free. You know, now you wouldn't dare take anything that someone gave you free, but back then it was, you know, you'd be all right. You know, I can remember my first pill being an MDMA, and I can remember walking around with my jaw totally dislocked out of my face at the biggest Gurner. It would have made Blackpool Gurners competition look nothing. I was out of it that much that I freaked one of my friends out, putting my head through their car window. I used to get very loved up, walking around telling everyone I loved them. I used to get Vicks people that came around rubbing your hands and shoulders with Vicks as you were dancing. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was just the best days. And I've always hung on to that. I've never moved on at all. Yeah, I've liked other music. But when I'm on my own, out comes the old school. And then about 2 years ago, after I'd grown up, had children, I discovered a radio station, which is Centre Force 88.3 on DAB radio. Now, that's not a promote, by the way, but I discovered this radio station, which will also link to a page. And out of that came the vibe of being back there and wanting to be back there, and the music played there was taking me back there totally. And through that I met some amazing people, and I've attended some amazing parties that they throw in London, and that is my time. I go there, and kid free weekends, and it's the dog's dinner. It's like being back there. Yeah, it takes me about 5 weeks to recover nowadays. Not, you know, back then I could go out and then next day I was back out again. Not now. And it's a brilliant place. There's people that talk about up and coming events. People post old school tracks all the time. There's some brilliant DJs out there, especially who play for the Force. You've got a DJ called DJ Rooney. You've got an MC, Danny Lyons. He's brilliant. He sort of gets you going. It was started, I think, by Danny and Andy Swallow. Quite a few years, well, going right back into the days, really. But there are some amazing DJs that play on that site, and you really should, if that was your thing back then, you really need, and you really want to have a refresh, I'd get on there and listen, and maybe attend one of the parties, because they are the dog's dinner. But yeah, that's all I can really say at the moment, because there's so much I could say about old school and the way it makes you feel, and the way it still makes me feel, just a bit older. But I'm still there, and I still will be for many more years, I think. And like I say, I've met some amazing people, and I'm proud to say that I was part of the proper old school raving days, and I'd probably cut off a toe to go back for a night. But yeah, I loved it. Love it. And people that were there will love it as much as me. And I still, to this day, when I'm playing my old tunes in the car, throwing shapes about, you get looks from people that just know. You know, you might pull up at traffic lights and they look at you and they're listening to what you're listening to, and they just nod like they know. And it's like part of a secret cult. It's amazing. And the only thing that I regret is that my children will never experience anything like it again. Yeah, amazing. Right, I'm off to listen to some tunes and ride my exercise bike. But I'd love to hear other people's stories, and have a really, really good weekend, even though it is Friday the 13th and it's a funny moon, so I've heard. But have a wicked one, and I'll talk again on Monday. Bye, everyone.